I've owned lots of watches from AliExpress. Super affordable ones, certainly less affordable ones. I've enjoyed almost all of them, but a lot of them have sort of come into the collection, been enjoyed, worn, and then left the collection. But there's one watch from one brand that has remained, and that is a watch by Roadland. Hello, you're watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I am talking about watches. And the AliExpress sale, the biggest sale of the year, is just about to start. And with this sale about to start, I decided to make three videos featuring my favorite brands from AliExpress. The first video was San Martin, the second video was Baltony, and today has to be the watch brand Roadland. Roadland don't seem to get the attention that these other brands get, and I think that's partly to do with their sort of business model about how they're producing watches, where they're selling watches, what watches they're selling. It seems a little bit more convoluted. It's not like San Martin, where you can go to the San Martin website and you can see all the new releases, or even Baltony that does something very similar. Roadland's a little bit more difficult to find them. But when you do find one, and you find the right one for yourself, they are very, very good. In fact, my Roadland Turbine Pilot remains my favorite watch from AliExpress. I've owned it for more than 2 years, I wear it all the time, and it is a permanent part of my collection. It's not going anywhere, which is why today I want to feature my favorite watches from Roadland, which you might want to consider in this upcoming sale. Now, I've been advocating for this Roadland brand for many years because my favorite watch of all time is from this brand. And stick around to the end if you're not already aware of which watch that is. I'm going to stick it on to the end of this particular list. But Roadland, well, they have a very specific design language that tends to sort of, well, they tend to look at IWC, the brand, and take a lot of their styling from them, which is perfectly okay with me because I like IWC. So they're not specifically an original design brand. However, there is one which is taking those styling cues from another brand, but making it their own. And I've spoken to the brand owner of this, and they're coming out with some really cool watches lately. Now, I do talk about this brand a lot, so a lot of people seem to think that I'm sponsored by them, but I'm definitely not. I just want to bring your attention to them. So a couple of these watches I have owned and I can definitely recommend. A couple of others I'm just drawing your attention to because I haven't had any hands-on experience with them. But if you do choose to buy them, of course, wait for the sale to start in a couple of days. But I'm going to leave some affiliate links down below if you choose to use them. Thank you so much. But let me show you the first one that I want to recommend, or at least draw your attention to. This is the retro classic sub-second registry vintage Pilot. Well, I like it in the brown. There's also a red version. There's also a black version or a grey version. Strangely enough, it's the brown one that grabs my attention. Let's try and find that brown picture again. Go back up again. Where is it? Where are you? There you are. Nope, that's the red one. Yep, brown. Here we keep on that one there. 170 US dollars. I'm going to be talking US dollars today just to make my life a little bit easier. This, of course, is a mechanical watch. I believe it's powered by a, let's have a look here. Oh, let's go down and use this one here. Where is the movement type? Mechanical wristwatch. Well, I think it's a seagull movement from what I'm aware of, but I'm not 100% sure. What I do like particularly about this one is it's not a huge one. The dial is 38 millimeters. I think the overall watch is a tiny bit bigger than that, but it looks like a large watch, but it's not actually a large watch. You can also customize the logo if you particularly want to do so, but it contains some really interesting features because I just like the overall look of it. I actually own the original sort of IWC of this one, and that's a huge watch. It's like 44, 45 millimeters. So this is actually a smaller version, which I think might be actually easier to wear. I'm actually quite keen to get this one and then just put it side by side with that IWC just to see how good these Roadlands really are, because I'm really impressed by them. And because everybody asked me to feature quartz watches, I thought I should throw a quartz version or a version of one of these Roadlands on here today. But it's also wanting to put this one on there because I think it looks absolutely fantastic, especially in this blue. This is a Pilot Chrono, a 40 millimeter watch, 145 US dollars, powered by the Seiko VK64. And I think it's a beautiful looking watch. Really good looking, both in that sort of more sort of a retro colors, the black and the sort of, I guess, gilt. I think there's a sizing conventions here somewhere. Let me show you some of the other sizes of this one. Yeah, thickness is 12 millimeters, quartz watch, 100 meters of water resistance, just a good looking watch. But I just really like it in that blue. I think that looks absolutely fantastic. Another one that I've seriously considered on many occasions is, I guess, this sort of quite a vintage, almost like a 1920s, 1930s looking sort of aviation watch. They call it the F018, 135 US dollars, sapphire crystal, Seagull ST17 movement. But it comes in this sort of red, which I think looks cool. Unfortunately, that's just a render, of course. That's not what it actually looks like in real life. I don't think they've got a good sort of picture of the red one in real life. Let's scroll down a little bit, see if they've got some other pictures. Here we go. That shows it off quite nicely. Again, a little bit similar to that first one I showed you, but different hands, different case size, but or different case sort of shape. But it's really a nice looking watch. Love the angles there coming down on that sort of square sort of case shape. Oh, I could easily buy this one too. Oh, I think I have a watch problem. I just need to own all of them, or want to own all of them, but I just can't wear them all, which is, it's a bit of a problem. But yeah, I really like this one. Certainly something that I've considered before, and it certainly remains on my wish list. This is one that has been on my wish list for a long time, so there's a reason why it stayed, and it's the reason why I want to bring your attention to it today. This is the first of two bronze watches I want to show you. This is a much more sort of a, I guess, a traditional sort of vintage pilot style with that big crown. It's a bigger watch, I think, this one here. It's the sort of the retro pilot with 300 meters of water resistance. Very cool case back there, featuring the PT5000. I think I like this sort of style, this sort of, well, it's almost like a brown dial again as well. Let me just show you the size of it though, because I think this one is a relatively big watch. We have 43 millimeters, 22 millimeter lugs, but I don't think it's got a huge lug to lug area. I think it's actually a relatively sort of wearable size. And this sort of style, I say a lot, style obviously I think helps dictate sort of what you can sort of get away with. I don't mind a bigger watch if it is this sort of style. I feel it just sort of fits the watch. Other watch styles, I don't want huge watches, but this one I don't mind at all. And I know these leather straps are amazing because the next watch I'm going to show you has the same one, and it is absolutely brilliant. This one I have actually owned, and that render just does not give it sort of yeah, this one here, look at that. It's got a granulated bronze sort of sunburst effect dial with these integrated bronze lugs, 39 millimeter. Obviously it looks a lot like a BB58, but no BB58 actually has this style. So this one, albeit a little bit expensive, or at least I thought it was a little bit expensive. Yeah, well, it's actually not very expensive, because when it arrives on your doorstep, you suddenly realize that this is an absolutely fantastic watch. Definitely one that I do recommend to people. I think the brown is the one to go for. There is a black version and I think a blue version. Get the brown one because it's actually more of a bronze. Yeah. Oh, good lume as well. Yeah, look at that. Trust me, I really enjoyed this watch. I think it was absolutely fantastic. It's a 39 millimeter containing the PT5000. Definitely one that I recommend. But there is always one watch that I always recommend to everybody, because it's one of the oldest watches in my collection, because I've owned it the longest. I wear it all the time. It's my favorite all-time AliExpress watch. And I definitely recommend this one. I think everybody should own this one, and it is the Pilot Turbine. But before I just show it off to you quickly, guys, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, would you mind just clicking on that subscribe button? It really does make a huge difference to me. But let me show you this Pilot Turbine. If you've watched my channel at all ever before, you likely have seen me point this one out, because it's just incredibly well made, a great looking watch, and just a watch you should own, realistically. There comes in a blue dial and a black dial. Now, I've owned both. The blue is actually very subdued. It almost looks black in most lights, but I prefer the black. Now, the only difference other than that is the hands. And it's a bit of a shame, because the hands on the black dial are these sort of blue color hands. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. Let me scroll down a little bit even. Let me show you, let me scroll down. They're sort of like a blue color hands, whereas the black dial version has, the blue dial version has these silver hands. I think that's the blue dial version there with the silver hands. And the silver hands I actually like more than the blue looking hands on the black dial. But that's okay, you sort of get to pick and choose. They've actually come down in price since I've bought mine, I think, 160 US dollars. Now it contains a Seagull movement. Let me show you Let me scroll down. I want to show you because it's got a big, nice see-through case back showing off that seagull movement, and it does look cool. They have seemed to have swapped over since I bought mine, so it's not quite as decorated as the one that I own, but I still think it is quite a good looking movement. Now, some people do complain about the size of this one, or say, I'm not going to buy it because of the size, and I did think the same. This says 40 millimeters. That might be the dial itself. It's not the case. The case is around 43 millimeters, but the style of this one allows for a bigger watch, and I only have a 17 centimeter wrist, and this is one of my most worn watches over the past 2 to 3 years. So if you've got a 17 centimeter wrist or even a 16.5 centimeter wrist, I think you can get away with this one. And of course, if you've got a bigger wrist, then this one is particularly fine. You really should consider it. The quality of this one is outstanding, and it's just a great looking watch. Guys, thanks for watching. The sale is just about to start. I hope these 3 videos that I've released over this week with all my favorite watches from San Martin, from Bolton, and now from Roland give you some ideas of watches that you possibly should consider. But without the sale about to start, or whilst you're waiting for that sale to about to start in a day or two, well, maybe watch a couple of other of my videos. Thanks very much.